What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Rashad Milligan. If you're new to the channel, this is the Road to 2K subs. You've seen the title. Hold on, man. You've seen the thumbnail. Come on. Stop, guys. What are we talking about here? It's WNBA 25, excuse me. So we got 25 minutes with the hottest in the game right now, man. Come on, dog. What are we talking about? First of all, shout out to Erica Ayala. Shout out to Tarika Foster-Brasby. Shout out to Angel Gray. Shout out to LaChina Robinson. Shout out to Christina Williams. Shout out to Autumn Johnson. Shout out to black women everywhere, man, doing this. Megan McTeague, man. Shout out to Ari Chambers. I always say Eric because I've been watching the dream. I don't know why I did that to see. Anyway, we got Monica McNutt in the building. Monica, how you doing?
I don't know. I mean, shout out to all of those women, my fellow sister queens. Like, excellent company to be a part of. I honestly woke up late this morning because that game last night, and then I was watching TV to see who was going to follow up with some coverage and kind of kicking myself that I didn't bum rush and force the issue while I'm up here in Bristol. So I just fell asleep thinking about how great the playoffs were and how we could expand coverage because it deserves that.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I guess I want to jump right into that. There was another question I wanted to ask, but we'll start with coverage first. So we have these two great games, and then it goes to like what? The World Series of Poker, or like some Boston Red Sox father and his son and the love story. Like what? Like we were hyped. Everybody was hyped. Everybody was like, "Oh, that was such a great game." I had homies that don't watch the W that was texting me, "Oh, Rashad, this is crazy," you know. And then the momentum just drifts away. So I guess kind of I'll let you have the floor with that.
So, okay. So logistically, when we do a broadcast, there's a time window, right? And I have seen this happen even on NBA games, which is just the easiest counterpart comparison. You have a time window, you hit your time, you got to get off air. So the game ended past midnight, so we had to get off air. Now, what is different in our experience compared to other sports leagues is there definitely would have been something built into SportsCenter over on ESPN. And I turned to SportsCenter a little late. I don't know if they took it at the top of the hour, but I'm fairly confident there was no analyst presence to dissect, whatever word you want to use. So there are some time constraints that are just a part of television. But the follow-up is where I think we could still stem the tide, or actually extend the tide, I should say, as opposed to stemming the tide. And I know I was willing to hop up this morning to go do 7 a.m. shows, but we're coming off of a Thursday night football. And quite honestly, even if the NBA was in the conversation, NFL is king when it comes to broadcasting. And so that's just the reality of it. Now, I will say that I am doing my part to push the issue. As long as I'm up here for studio support, I think we'll see some more middle of the week type of stuff. Yesterday, Elle Duncan and Kevin Agandi had me on the 6 p.m. SportsCenter show, which was terrific, and we had a blast there. So we're working, but nothing changes overnight. I mean, we've built in hoop stream shows. We did one yesterday. We'll have one Tuesday prior to the game. But, Sunday slate, Rashad, if you don't love WNBA, NFL is king. That's just the reality. But I think the beauty of where we are is you can be watching NFL, checking for your fantasy league, whatever, but you can pick up your phone and we can still engage socially with clips, recaps, reactions. And so I know last night I was thinking, maybe that's the way we tackle it when we don't have a time window. Just Coach and I still sitting on the desk, quick reactions on cell phones, pump it out because we know that we have an audience that's consuming it.
The people we're looking for, that was in the Twitter spaces myself last night listening to the game. Post-game commentary and stuff like that. So, and that's exactly what they were saying. They were like, man, we're looking for the post-game conference. So, we love all this stuff. And so, that for sure. But I appreciate that unique perspective that we don't usually get from the other side. And the first question I have about last night's games is, last shot, should Betnijah get the ball?
Absolutely. But I need to go back and look at it because I know that that the Phoenix Mercury knew that. And so do you force the issue to which she can't even catch the ball cleanly? Sabrina came off clean. The shot went up. I was like, okay. But Sabrina came off clean. And so I can't remember off the top of my head the actions. But just like you and I know that, the Phoenix Mercury knew that. And Betnijah had just hit the shot to tie the game. Like, they were not going to let her catch the ball.
Right, for sure. And I don't know, it was just very, I don't know, because it's like if BG was on Sabrina, I think BG was going to be on whoever took that shot. So, well, go ahead.
Yes, but I think whoever was BG was originally guarding set the screen, and Sabrina comes off, and so BG is just using her length and her size to hard hedge and contest. I think if Benaja's coming off that screen, there's no switch, and there might have been another person. You know what I mean? Like, they were going to deny her the basketball. Like, that just was not going to be the option.
I got to watch it again. But obviously off top, the first thing you're thinking about is, they've kind of been forcing, Sabrina starts the season off with the game winner. You're kind of thinking, all right, they're kind of trying to force the Sabrina issue or whatever, force the Sabrina agenda and whatnot. But yeah, man, good game. Great night. Both games. I mean, the Chicago game, I said before the game, I was with Bailey and I was like, dog, like, if you think Dallas is going to win, unsubscribe right now. And then I had some people, I guess I have to unsubscribe then. And then, for a second, in that third quarter, they had me. I'm like, come on now. Them jokers, hey, Marina and all them jokers, they had me sweating a little bit. In that third quarter, I guess, what was your reaction?
So, we did our hoop streams, and Coach was leaning in on the upset, being Dallas, even though the Liberty were closer to actually pulling the upset off. I think what we saw in Dallas is they were a young team. The moment, maybe a lack of focus. Chicago came out and did what they needed to do to open the game. But once Dallas settled in, particularly third quarter performance from Satu Sabally, they are bucket getters. Alicia Gray didn't necessarily have her signature game. Marina Mabry. And the thing with Marina Mabry is I don't necessarily need her to score, but I need her to have that swag and that command that gets that Dallas squad going, that Arike plays off of, quite honestly. And I think as soon as she got tied up with Dawson, and I think that was the first quarter, she just, to me, was a little bit off the rest of the way. And so, more than anything, Dallas showed, and I tweeted this last night, both Dallas and New York, if they can maintain the continuity of their course, they are absolutely coming for the league. And it's going to be so much fun to watch. But I think you got to remember Chicago's path to understand their urgency. Kai Copper, yeah, she was on both of those teams. Quiggs and Sloot, obviously, the Shields. Like, a bulk of that squad remembers De'Erica Hamby hitting that crazy half-court shot, remembers not being able to get healthy in the bubble. And here they are, plus add Candace Parker. This is their moment. And so I think even though they are susceptible to runs, we've seen that over the course of the season. They've been roller coaster, like, in the season in total and during the course of games, they kind of lose focus. They locked back in when they needed to the most. And I thought Copper and Sloot were terrific last night.
Right. For sure. And, obviously just kind of, with Dallas moving forward, you talk about Dallas has such a promising future. So does New York. But what do you do with those three, top 5 picks with Chelsea Dungy and the 2 number 1 picks and Alec and Charlie?
It's a lot, Rashad. Here's the thing. Getting drafted and sticking for a season in and of itself is an accomplishment. But sticking in the league is a whole nother ball of wax. You cannot teach size. And I know Izzy plays with a walk overseas. Charlie you just cannot teach size. If Charlie applies the same work ethic that she applied to her career over the course of Texas, she'll be fine. She may not be a star in this league, but she will be able to be productive. Think of somebody like Mercedes Russell with Seattle, who has been able to take the next steps, right? Or even Rashonda Gary in the second game, or Rashonda Gray, in the second game, not necessarily an all-star, but formidable, has a spot on the roster, has an assignment, has a job. Kia Vaughn, long-time career, although Kia Vaughn has some really strong years over the course of her career. What's my child? Stokes. Stokes is another example, right? Like, I don't need you to be a superstar. I need you to know your role and do it well. And so Charlie has to get in WNBA shape. She's got to think about the WNBA game in terms of angles, using her size. I think strength is going to be an issue for her. But I watched Charlie as a freshman, and I remember calling Texas games. And Charlie as a freshman and Charlie as a senior, beast. And so if she applies that same work ethic, I think she'll be okay. Awak Kawir, I haven't seen a ton of, but she's that Elena Deladon, Candace Parker, like prototype in terms of the length, the model, the possible versatility, the ability to shoot the ball. Someone like Jonquel Jones obviously would be that like sort of a ceiling for her. But again, you're talking about rookies. Of all of them, Chelsea probably has the hardest way to go just because guards come a dime a dozen.
For sure. And I guess given a early look ahead to round 2 now, Minnesota, Chicago, who do you like in that matchup?
Shy, you gonna do me like this? Last night. Try not to fall in love with narratives. I do believe Candace Parker brings something special to the Chicago Sky. But Cheryl Reeve, Sylvia Fowles, Crystal Dangerfield, Leisure, like, they are machines.
Yeah.
We had a terrific graphic last night about the new faces in Minnesota, Leisure, Ariel Powers, and Kayla McBride, and their productivity, all giving you double figures, shooting, high 30s from the field, if not in the 40s. And they've been such tremendous additions. Ariel brings that championship pedigree from the Mystics. I think Kayla McBride was waiting to be unlocked after battling through the logjam of guards in Vegas. And Leisure is just a gamer. They take advantage of every opportunity, and they approach the game with so much gratitude. And as a veteran, it shows. Among all that, your staples still continues to be in her 14th year, giving you 16 and 10, Sylvia Fowles. But
shout out Big Seal.
Offensively and defensively, and Cheryl Reeve has a move, and Crystal Dangerfield is prototype point guard for Cheryl Reeve. I'm gonna run this real simple, real clean, get to the basket, take my shots, make the right play, make the right read. So, oh God, this is gonna be a great game. Am I taking Minnesota off of being fresh?
Are you running with the? I'm looking at the CP3 gets 2 rings, her second ring this year. Either CP3 or Asia gets the first one. That's the narrative I'm running with for the postseason.
So I will say that I have it staying chalk is when we get to the finals. I hope to see Vegas and Connecticut. And I'm giving the slightest edge to Connecticut, although my teammate and good friend is an assistant with the Aces. They're going to have to get it together if they want to knock off Connecticut. But, okay, to stay focused, Minnesota, Chicago. I think I got to give the edge to Minnesota because you are who you are. And they, to me, have been far more consistent.
Well, what a pickup with Leisure right before the season. It reminds you of Benija like before last season with Atlanta. So I guess Phoenix and Seattle now before we move on.
Is DT playing? What you think? She was
I
game
think
time?
DT comes back. I think DT comes. Like she looked like she wanted to just jump in the last couple minutes last night.
Give the Liberty their credit. They did a great job of double teaming her and making her uncomfortable. But there were also – you got me, Rashad?
I got you. You were going for a second, but you came back.
Okay. Last night I was a little bit disappointed. Brittany Griner had 1 shot through the first quarter. And I think at halftime she'd only taken 5. And not that – I mean, the Liberty executed to a T in terms of disrupting her doubling. But there were also moments to me where I don't care who you are, you can't move as fast as the ball. So get her the ball, kick it back out, go back to her. Like, make them put her on the line. Like, there were moments where I just wanted her to big body. Like, just, I'm going through both of y'all. If that doesn't show up, I think I gotta go with Seattle because perimeter, they match up so well. And if BG's not the difference maker in my mind, even though last night she had a double-double, it felt like a quiet double-double. I think I got to give the edge to Seattle in terms of their pedigree. They've been there, done that.
Phoenix looked like they weren't ready last night. Like Sophie Cunningham, like pretty much saved them and was like, "Okay, y'all don't want to play? I got y'all." Go ahead.
I won't say not ready. I will say they were the prime example of why you have a team and why you got to stay ready. Like Sophie's been brewing. We knew she's definitely been brewing. We knew since she got in the league that she was a competitor. She was going to work, get after it, work. There's plenty of stories of her soaking up everything that DT has to give. I think it was more about the Liberty playing almost perfectly.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that, and I think Lou is due maybe for that might be an X factor for Seattle. And I know, I've been kind of hearing the Lou propaganda all season. So it's like maybe Lou comes out and has a surprise game, gets us 20 points.
Okay.
But that's me hearing the Lou propaganda. Anyways, I guess moving on to Dejanay Carrington. Dejanay last night obviously tweeted this out about the late night foul calls. She still hasn't let it go. It is, what is it? The end of September. It's the end of September, and she's still on this. So I guess just, kind of what was your reaction when you saw her still tweet it out and talk about it and stuff?
Katie Barnes actually retweeted it and just said, oop, and I retweeted Casey, but then I did reply to Dejanay. I forget what I said. I said, girl, she's right. She's right. This was such a foul last season or whenever that was. She's completely right.
And I guess sticking on for the last couple minutes, moving on to UConn, because we got a bunch of UConn subscribers and everything. With you being one of the voices of the Huskies, when you see this schedule, Battle for Atlantis, South Carolina's in that bracket. You look at some of the other out-of-conference games. You got Louisville, Oregon, South Carolina, Tennessee, all tough matchups. UCLA as well on ABC. Just I guess what is kind of your early season outlook of UConn.
What you mean by voices of the Huskies, though, Rashad?
You're one of the voices. You do the Fox Sports and the so-and-so game. And
oh, okay. I was like, wait a minute, that's too close. I did the Connecticut Sun broadcast. I cover, Big East, the Big East correlation.
Right. But you do a lot of the UConn games.
Yeah, I've had my fair share of UConn events. So this is great. I mean, this is what you're supposed to do if you're UConn. I love it. UCLA, Charisma Osborne, delightful. Louisville, Haley Van Lith and company coming right at you. I think Oregon was a little bit, I didn't really follow them so closely last year until Sedona obviously made a bunch of headlines, but Sedona Prince is terrific. Satsu Sabi's younger sister, I can't call her first name, but she's with that squad. Don is all.
You said you're talking about Don, and then it cut off. That's the devil.
I'm really happy to see what Kelly Harper can do in terms of bringing Tennessee back to some of its glory days. Let's see, the 11th and 19th. Okay, that's gonna be a fun turnaround. Ooh, 19th, 17th at that tournament. Ooh, that's gonna be interesting. So that could be tricky. We'll see how that tight turnaround. And then the last two are spread out pretty well. I think Tennessee in February is a good look in terms of starting to get ready for the big dance, because the UConn's not gonna have any real test of the Big East, as we know.
And I guess kind of, how do you think Paige and AZ are gonna fit? And then what do you think about
some AZ's so sweet. Paige is great. What you mean? They're gonna fit like they fit when they was playing AAU. This is about to be fantastic, and they're gonna get paid because NIL. Shout out to them.
All right, Monica. Is there anything else before we close today that you'd like to share or say or anything like that?
Tuesday, before third round action, we will have a WNBA hoop streams as well. So look out for that. I believe it will be from 7 to 7:30, and then we'll tip action at 8. But don't quote me. I'm not 100% sure. But look out for hoop streams. We'll be tweeting about it, engaging. And we're excited. It's going to be a fun run to crown a champ.
Where can people find Monica McNutt on social media?
At McNutt Monica, doing ridiculous things.
You're having a moment right now. Last question. How does it feel to be in this moment? You're having a moment right now. Like you already know that. You hear that on every interview. You're having a moment. How does that feel to know that like you're in the moment right now?
So my beautiful friend Melanie Dunning sent me that video that I think a lot of people saw. That was, what a crazy year I've had. And as much as I love that video and it's accurate about the past year, it is a little bit fraudulent or misleading, I should say, not fraudulent, because that year, Rashad, took 10 years to make. And let them know. Right? I know, seriously, I need people to understand that. And not just people that are haters but fans, and especially young people. Because I remember coming out of school being like, I hooped at Georgetown. I'm from the DMV. Like, I'm supposed to be the sports anchor on NBC4, a top 10 market in DC. It's no brainer to me, right? And that's not exactly how it works. I think social media has changed the game in terms of cultivating an audience. But with anything, you got to give it time. The same way that these athletes that we're celebrating have poured years and hours and days into their craft, so it has been for me in the pursuit of my journalism career. And so I'm really enjoying the moment. And I think I'm most proud of literally, I'm just me. Like, nothing has changed. And perhaps sometimes I'm a little too comfortable. I don't know if I should have been dropping it like it's hot in the Sports Center studio, but I mean, it's me. And I'm just so proud to be able to amplify women's basketball, women's sports, in which I'm trying to grow and learn more about as well. And I say this all the time. When I show up to a show like Around the Horn that I watched with my dad and get to work with so many people that I admire, if we break this thing down to the bare bones, I stepped to that platform representing women's basketball as both an athlete and that being the first sport that I ever covered. And I'm very proud of that.
We appreciate that so much, Monica. We want to give you all your flowers. And I appreciate who you know you don't know Drake isn't coming down here.
Yeah, Drake
is the hottest in the game, coming to the trenches, messing with the people. Monica, I appreciate it a billion times. I'm gonna let you get to your day. Everybody, if you're new to the channel, this is the road to 2K subs. Take care of yourselves. Be safe. Wash your hands. Stay 6 feet. Wear your mask. Do your research on the vaccine. Take the vaccine so outside can open. Until next time, take care of yourself.